Hey, welcome back my channel. Soul Talk Stories. Clint Eastwood has always been known as a Hollywood legend, a man who carved his name into cinematic history with grit, determination, and an unapologetic personality. At 90+ years old, you'd think he would have mellowed down, choosing to enjoy his legacy in peace. But recently, during a surprising appearance on Good Morning America, Eastwood reminded everyone that he still carries the same sharp edge that defined his career. What was supposed to be a lighthearted interview promoting his latest project quickly turned into one of the most awkward and unforgettable moments in live television. The morning show began normally enough, with the host smiling, engaging in casual banter, and preparing the audience for Eastwood's arrival. But when Clint walked onto the stage, wearing his signature calm expression, there was already a sense of tension in the air. Maybe it was his reputation, maybe it was his aura, but everyone knew this wasn't going to be just another typical Hollywood interview. From the beginning, one of the GMA hosts decided to push a little harder than usual, asking Clint about his age and questioning whether someone in their 90s should still be working in Hollywood. Instead of laughing it off or brushing past the remark, Clint froze for a moment, his piercing eyes locking onto the host. The audience went silent. Then Clint leaned in and delivered a response that no one in the studio would forget. He calmly said, "If you spend your time counting birthdays instead of doing something meaningful, maybe that's why you'll never make a movie people remember." The studio audience gasped. The host tried to recover with nervous laughter, but Clint wasn't done. His words cut through the cheerful morning atmosphere like a razor. The host attempted to shift the topic to Eastwood's political views, likely hoping to catch him off guard. But Clint Eastwood has never been one to shy away from controversial subjects. Instead, he fired back with a simple, unapologetic statement: "I don't come here to play politics for your ratings. I came here to talk about real work, real stories, and maybe inspire people to do something with their lives instead of sitting around gossiping." At this point, even the co-hosts appeared uncomfortable. Some shuffled their notes, while others exchanged nervous glances. The live studio audience, however, was hooked. People were leaning forward in their seats, waiting for what Clint would say next. The GMA host, perhaps out of desperation, decided to take one more jab, bringing up a past criticism about Clint's directing style, accusing him of being out of touch with modern audiences. That was the breaking point. Clint didn't raise his voice, didn't lash out, but instead used the same cold, deliberate tone that had defined so many of his iconic roles. He replied, "Out of touch. The day you direct a film that wins 4 Oscars, come back and tell me about being out of touch. Until then, maybe keep your opinions for your Twitter feed." The audience erupted into applause, something rare for a morning interview. The host's face turned red, realizing that what was supposed to be a playful sparring match had become a public humiliation. Eastwood, meanwhile, sat back in his chair, calm and unbothered, almost as if he'd simply stated the obvious. What made the moment even more powerful was the fact that Clint never once raised his voice. He didn't resort to insults or cheap comebacks. Instead, he relied on truth, experience, and an unshakable confidence built over decades of accomplishments. For younger viewers, it was a reminder of why Clint Eastwood became a legend in the first place. For longtime fans, it was another classic Eastwood moment, the kind of sharp-tongued showdown that felt straight out of one of his movies. As the interview wrapped up, the hosts did their best to steer the conversation back to safe ground, but the damage was done. Social media exploded within minutes. Clips of Clint's responses went viral, with fans praising his refusal to bow to shallow questions or cheap tricks. Some criticized the host for trying to embarrass a Hollywood icon, while others admired Clint for standing his ground. By the end of the day, hashtags like #EastwoodOwnsGMA and #ClintUnfiltered were trending worldwide. Fans of all ages celebrated the moment as proof that authenticity still matters in a world filled with scripted interviews and carefully manufactured celebrity appearances. Clint Eastwood has lived long enough to know that respect isn't demanded, it's earned. And in that GMA studio, in front of millions of viewers, he reminded everyone exactly why his name still carries weight. With just a few well-placed words, he turned a potentially routine interview into a cultural flashpoint, proving once again that even in his later years, he is still as sharp, fearless, and uncompromising as ever. The GMA Showdown wasn't just another celebrity headline. It was a moment of truth, a reminder that legends don't fade quietly. They keep fighting, keep creating, and keep commanding respect until the very end. Clint Eastwood didn't just humiliate a morning show host, he gave a masterclass in how to own the room without ever needing to raise your voice.